So I've been learning Japanese for the last 5 years or so, and my progress has been inconsistent, to say the least. So I want to change that this year, so I'm going to be talking through my plan on how I plan on getting to the most beginner level of the JLPT, which is N5 for the Japanese language proficiency test. And I'm going to talk through really the 3 things that I plan on doing this year to see if I can finally reach my goal for that elusive N5. It's probably really not that elusive, but it has been for me. It's been quite a long journey just getting through this beginner portion. What's up, y'all? It's Puff, back again with another language learning video. If you're new to the channel, I enjoy making content about my hobbies. I'll have a list right here. If you like any of these, I plan on making videos about them in the future, so make sure that you like and subscribe. Alright, so as I've mentioned earlier, I've been doing this for quite a while at this point, so I wouldn't say that I'm new to this, but I'm definitely still a beginner. If you're curious to see like really what my level is and where I'm at with my Japanese language learning, I'll leave a video linked up here for me testing my ability in Japanese. Spoiler alert, it's not great. It's not great, but it's something. So we'll start from there. The first thing that I'm going to be focusing on is really just building out my base so I have a better foundation for Japanese as a whole. So I've already learned hiragana and katakana, and those are kind of like the Japanese alphabets. So really, all I need to do from there is increase the number of kanji I know, increase the amount of vocab that I know, making sure that I'm learning more like grammatical structures. So yeah, not really as close as it sounds. So to do this, I'll be using Migaku, and I know what you're thinking. This is not sponsored, unless... No, I'm just kidding. It's not sponsored. Now, Migaku has this really great beginner's course that I've been using where it's really just like an introduction to Japanese, where it showcases essentially like the first most frequent like 1,500 words in Japanese. So you learn those, and then you learn those alongside roughly like 300 or so different grammatical points as well. So the way that they have these lessons laid out is through an SRS system, which is like a spaced repetition system. So the way that SRSs work is essentially what it's going to do is through the use of flashcards, it is only going to be showing you the cards that you're most likely to forget. So it's as opposed to you just doing a normal flashcard deck where you're learning every single card every single time you go through, or you have to like pick a different deck. This one, the more frequently you get a card right, the further out it's going to push out that review because you're more likely to remember it. So I found that this is really the best way to go about this. There's a lot of other different free versions that you can use that are like spaced repetition systems like Anki that I've used before that I really recommend as well, but this is really how I'm going to be going through it for at least this kind of beginner portion for myself. The fact that they have both vocab and grammar kind of all in one is perfect for me, because if things are not both convenient and easy, I probably will not be sticking with them for a very long time. So right now I'm currently at roughly, I think 870 or so of these cards complete out of like the 2,000. So I would really like to get this done by the end of the year. I have been pretty inconsistent with the amount that I've been doing. So sometimes it'll be just a review day. I'll just be reviewing the old cards that I have. And then other days I'll do 3 to 5. And then if there's a particularly ambitious day, it doesn't happen very often, I'll do like 10. This year I'd really like to lean more towards 10 cards a day, and then at the very least try and do at least 5 cards a day, just to make sure that I'm really just moving the needle a little bit. Now, say that you're trying to get into your Japanese language learning journey, but you don't necessarily want to pay for an app. Totally get it. So I'm gonna link below in the description a resource called Themoeway, which I think has been really the most comprehensive Japanese language learning guide that I've seen online, that like I feel like I really resonate with as far as something that I feel like will work well for people. So I'm gonna link that in the description. Feel free to check that out. All right, next up is immersion. And for those of you who have watched any videos on Japanese language learning, this is probably not a super new term to you, but for those of you who haven't, immersion is essentially just immersing yourself in your target language. So if you go back in time, really the only way to do this would be to live in the actual country that the language is spoken. Now you can do that through content, which is what I'm gonna do for this. So I've been pretty inconsistent with this in the past, but I'm going to try and pick out, you know, a few different options for myself just to give myself a little bit of flexibility for what I'm doing on a day-to-day. And these are kind of the things that I'm gonna be focusing on. First up on the list is Tonari no Yamada-kun, or my neighbor, the Yamadas. So I actually have these right here. These are film comics, which I did not know exist, but I saw them in the store and I decided to pick them up just because I feel like the language is going to be relatively simple. It's a movie, so I could potentially watch that as some supplementary information to get a little bit more background as I'm going through and like reading these. And yeah, it's just something that seems fun. I love Ghibli, so I feel like this will be a good time. There are 4 of these total, so I plan on getting through all of these by the end of the year, or at least that is the intention. Next up is Yotsubato, which is a manga. This is one that I feel like is also pretty commonly referenced in the Japanese language learning community for like beginner content. So it follows this young girl and kind of her antics and little misadventures that she has. And because she's so young, a lot of the language is pretty beginner level. So that's something that I'm going to be using as well. I don't have like a physical version of it, but I'll try and put some stuff up on screen. I don't know how many of these I'm going to read, but I'm gonna give them a go and see if I can get through at least a couple volumes or so, and we'll see where I'm at. Next up is Karakai Jouzu no Takagi-san. So the translation of this, stay with me, Teasing Master Takagi-san. Hey, yo! So it sounds kind of strange, English translation, but the point of it really is this girl constantly is pulling pranks on this other kid in class. Really just follows them trying to either successfully pulling pranks on each other or trying to pull pranks on each other. So just fun, lighthearted. Don't know how much I plan on getting through for this, but this is gonna be my main like listening immersion practice that I'm gonna be doing. So I don't know how intense I'm gonna be with like word lookups and translating everything, or if I'm gonna try and be a little bit more freeform with it, but we'll see how far we make it with this one. Okay, next up is Shin-chan. I think it's his summer vacation, I think is the title of the video game itself. So this is one that I've wanted to play for a bit. I managed to get it set up with an emulator, which took forever, so I wanna make sure that I'm actually using it at this point. It was super fun, at least in my initial start of it. Not a ton has happened yet, but it seems like the kind of game I can get into. It's kind of Animal Crossing-esque. It really follows this kid, Shin-chan, and his adventures in the Japanese countryside, which I think will just be super fun. I don't know if I have an intention of like fully beating it this year, but I do want to try and make through at least some decent progress through the game, for sure. So those are the 4 that I plan on using for immersion. You'll notice kind of a theme for these. So really, the intention is that they're relatively basic language, so that it's easier for me to get into and understand. A lot of these characters are like younger characters, which is why that language is going to be a little bit simpler. I also wanted the settings to be at least like semi-realistic. Like eventually I would love to get into more like whether it's like fantasy type anime or, you know, more specific genres, but for now I want to try and keep it as like normal as possible, just so that the language that I'm getting exposed to is normal as well. So those are the 2 things that I was kind of looking for when I was determining what kind of content I wanted to start consuming. All right, and number 3 is testing. How do I know I'm at an N5 unless I test? So that's what we're going to be doing. I will be recreating the test that I did linked here, if you want to check it out. And I will also be potentially doing the JLPT N5 like official test, like actually physically going to a location and taking a very long test. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you want to see me put myself through multiple hours of testing for really only my ego at this point, just to see where I'm at. All right, so that is how I plan on getting to N5 by the end of 2026. Will it work? What do you think? You think it's possible? You think I can do it? It feels like it's been ages since I started learning Japanese language learning, and the progress is so slow. If there's anything else you feel like I should be adding to my routines, make sure to leave that in the comments right below the like and subscribe button. If you're curious about what I've been doing for the last 5 years with my Japanese language learning, feel free to check out this video here. But other than that, that's all I got. I'll catch you in the next one. I appreciate you. Bye.